Good evening and welcome to Crown Hill. I am your guide. I'm done struggling with host or hostess. I'm calling myself a guide tonight. I am your guide to the Crown Hill journey. I'm also the author of the book. Thank you for joining me this evening, and I welcome you, although I'm going to get started pretty quickly because tonight at 8 o'clock, if you have not heard, there is going to be a concert. It's a One World Together at Home concert. It will be on every outlet, whether it's your television, your social media, your YouTube, anything that you want to watch it on, it will be on, and it starts at 8 o'clock. So I'm going to make sure that we get out of here in time for you to see it. It is the best of the world musicians. Lady Gaga they're calling her the curator of this concert. It's going to be hosted by Fallon, Kimmel, and Colbert, and it starts at 8 o'clock. Paul McCartney, Beyonce, Stevie Wonder, just you name it. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank, but they'll all be there. So check it out at 8 o'clock. Doesn't matter what you want to flip to on your channel changer, it'll be there. So watch it. So what do I want to tell you? The pictures. If you saw the pictures that I posted online inviting you to tonight's Crown Hill journey, which would a luncheon, those pictures were actually from the farm. The peonies, which were the long line of flowers, not in front of the house, but by themselves. That was one. Good evening, Peggy. Thank you. And Kathleen. Those were 2 rows. They lined the driveway from the road almost up to the house on both sides. And then the rhododendrons that you saw in front of the house they just filled the front of the house. And I planted all those when I first moved there. And 20 years later, they completely defined the property, not only in their scope and beauty, but in their scent. It was a beautiful, beautiful. It took a long time to get there, but I was so grateful that I lived there long enough to appreciate their beauty. So let's go to lunch, shall we? Cheers. Crown Hill, a novel of love, life, and the afterlife. Book 3, Meg, Chapter 7. Meg delicately navigated the stairs, balancing the Irish linen tablecloth over her shoulder, the matching napkins across her arm. It was mid-Saturday morning, and the new homeowner was happily preparing her first official Crown Hill luncheon. The table linens had belonged to her mother's great-great-grandmother, Bridget Julia McCormick. They were part of the dowry for her 1851 marriage to Patrick Joseph O'Shea. Immediately following their simple country wedding, Patrick and Julia departed Ireland for America, amidst the strife of Gorta Mór, or the Great Hunger, as the Irish called their potato famine. The new bride took particular care in packaging her few heirloom possessions for the ocean voyage. 3 full sets of her mother's table linens and her grandmother's emerald and diamond lavalier comprised the greatest part of the luggage she carried. Throughout the many challenges of her married life, Bridget fiercely protected those valued family treasures, determined to continue the tradition of passing them on to the generations of women to follow. Meg clearly remembered the day that her mother gifted her with a set of the cherished linens. It was the morning of her marriage to Cal. Gently peeling back the layers of yellow tissue paper, Meg burst into tears upon discovering the gorgeous tablecloth and matching napkins that had been embellished with Bridget's delicate needlework. Little did either woman realize that Meg's intense emotions were as much related to her apprehension over becoming Mrs. Calvin Becker as the import of the special gifts. Smoothing the tablecloth perfectly into place, Meg added 2 place settings of her mother's English bone china, rimmed in silver and accented with delicate pink roses. Alongside the plate, she placed Bridget's embroidered napkins, topped by silverware embossed with roses on the handles. Next came crystal water glasses and china teacups to complete each place setting. Meg felt a serene joy in viewing the blended arrangement of her family's cherished possessions set within this special place she now called home. Today was the first time that Meg had invited anyone to Crown Hill. She had to admit she was a bit nervous. The fact that the social engagement was coming at the end of her first full work week only added to the pressure. Fortunately, the work schedule she had negotiated with Jake allowed Meg all of Friday to clean and prepare the house. She had then risen early Saturday morning to shop for just the right groceries for her luncheon menu. Now all that was left was to finish the table and prepare the food. Meg filled the house with vases of peonies, deep rose to light pink, gathered from Crown Hill's lavish gardens. She even snipped a few roses from the walkway arch, just enough to fill an antique cut glass bowl she had recently purchased at an estate sale. Walking through and inspecting the rooms, Meg was at once moved to joyous laughter and bittersweet tears. "All right, Goldie, no time for this. We have a lunch to prepare. Come on, girl." The two set off for the kitchen, where Meg assembled plates of baby-fresh spinach, topped with dried cranberries, mandarin oranges, lightly toasted and sugared walnuts, thinly sliced red onions, and some crumbled Chèvre cheese. Setting the salads aside, Meg sautéed 2 boneless, skinless chicken breasts and left them to gently simmer in heavy cream, white wine, chopped shallots, and rosemary. Finishing up, she mixed together an old family recipe for buttery blonde brownies, which she knew by heart. Popping them into the oven, the only tasks that remained were to slice the bread and fill the glasses with ice and water. Meg checked the clock on the stove. 11:15, just enough time to take a quick shower and get dressed. "Let's go, Goldie." Meg headed upstairs to the bathroom, while Goldie settled in her usual place at the foot of her bed. As the restorative water cascaded over her body, Meg allowed events of the last 5 days to tumble through her mind. She had managed her first week on the job at Kelly & Sons with reasonable success. Her worries about working for Jake Kelly were calmed as the two settled into a comfortable office pattern. Meg making order of the chaos, and Jake desperately trying not to undermine her progress. It took a few days for the gruff owner to adhere to putting invoices in the inbox, billings in the outbox, and submitting receipts with all the expense sheets. But by week's end, Jake was getting the hang of the new office order with a minimum of complaining. In addition, the two discovered that despite their differences, they enjoyed working together. Every time Meg thought about Jethro Tull recommending her for the job, she couldn't help but laugh. Who would have thought? Reluctantly leaving the comfort of her steaming shower, Meg toweled off and slipped into her favorite pair of black capris, topped by a crisp white blouse. Choosing a pair of quilted red flats to complete her outfit, Meg took a quick look in the mirror. Not bad for a woman recently turned 40, she thought. We're doing just fine, right, Goldie girl? Hearing her name brought the loving pet to her owner's side. Sharing a quick hug, Meg and Goldie set off down the stairs, just as a knock came on the back door. "Hello? Anyone home?" "Meg, it's me, Catherine." Meg passed through the kitchen and onto the back porch to greet her guest. "Hello, Catherine. Your timing is perfect. Welcome." Meg opened the door to allow Catherine Winston to step inside the house, but Goldie immediately moved forward and separated the two women. "Hey there, Goldie girl. How are you today?" It was hard to tell who was happier at the reunion, realtor or dog. Either way, Meg quickly took hold of Goldie's bright green collar and gently guided her back from the doorway. "Thanks, Meg, but not to worry. She's really fine." Extending a beautifully bowed basket to her hostess, Catherine added, "So nice to see you both. Thank you for inviting me to Crown Hill today." Meg released her hold on Goldie and accepted Catherine's gift. The basket was filled with an assortment of picture-perfect homemade muffins and cookies. "Oh, Catherine, these look delicious, but you didn't need to bring anything." "It's my pleasure. I love to bake. However, when you empty the basket, you have to refill it with treats of your choice and share it with someone else. I've been doing this for years, and it's become sort of a tradition around town, especially with my real estate clients. I always bring them a basket once they're settled. The thoughtfulness of Catherine's gift made Meg immediately comfortable with the businesswoman. Suddenly, she felt that lunch was much more of a coming together of friendly neighbors than business acquaintances. What a wonderful idea, Catherine, and I will definitely refill the basket and share. Please come in. Meg led Catherine through the kitchen and into the dining room. Oh, Meg, I have to say, Crown Hill feels like a whole new space with your energy. And this table setting is gorgeous. Wherever did you find such beautiful linens? As Meg served lunch, she shared the story of her family's treasured handiwork, along with additional Flynn history that she knew. Catherine's genuine interest encouraged Meg to impart some of her own life details, and before she realized it, the women had finished lunch and were ready for dessert. Catherine, I'm afraid that I've monopolized the conversation today. I'm so sorry. I rarely chatter away about my life like this. Let's move out to the porch and enjoy some iced tea and brownies. That way we can chat about you and your world. Settling into Meg's newly acquired white wicker chairs among planters of delicate green ferns, the women continued their pleasant conversation well into the afternoon. Catherine regaled Meg with anecdotes of Eden families and their real estate transactions, interspersed with tidbits of her personal life. It was enjoyable company that became more significant to Meg as she noticed a color materializing around Catherine. Purple was defining this woman as someone of passion and spirituality, a personality that she revealed through her words as well. The longer they conversed, the more Meg found herself drawn to Catherine and engaged by her charm. Yet no matter the pleasantness of the afternoon, Meg kept close the memory of the broken glass in the book cabinet, and the prime reason she had invited the busy realtor for lunch. Catherine, I know it's getting late, and no doubt you have other places to be today, but before you go, I wonder if you could tell me a bit more about the history of Crown Hill. Hesitant but determined, Meg continued. The other day when you stopped by, you mentioned a woman named Mary, I believe. Do you know background information about her or details about her time here at Crown Hill? I would love to know more if you do. Catherine laughed softly as she considered the question. Oh my, Meg, the house has been written about and photographed for local newspaper and magazine articles many times over the years. Mostly the stories have focused on its historic presence in the Western New York area. But articles have also been written about the commune that existed here before you arrived. And there are also vintage photographs showing previous owners raising sheep and growing crops. You know, humanist interest kinds of stories. It makes sense that Catherine was measuring her words, and she also wondered why. She instinctively decided to encourage conversation about previous owners. What about stories of the people who have lived here, such as that Mary you mentioned? Catherine paused in thought before answering. Well, as you can imagine, in the almost 150 years that it's been in existence, many people have called Crown Hill home. I don't know about them all, but I can tell you that the early dwellers settled into a much different property and into a much different house. The first tract of land was over 50 acres, and the house was a one-story residence with 2 rooms and a luxury outhouse attached to the back of the building. The 2 women laughed over the bathroom accommodations suggested by Catherine's description. Over the years, the property was divided and sold off for one reason or another, and the house expanded both out and up. I don't know that I can tell you the names and stories of everyone who has ever lived on this property, but yes, Mary and Owen Southwick were 2 people who I specifically remember. So when did they live here? Meg asked, anxious for more details. back in the 1870s into the mid-1880s, as I recall. As their story is told, Owen was a farmer, and Mary worked right alongside him. She kept the house and the gardens in order, and Owen well fed. Actually, Mary was well known throughout Eden for her gardens and for the interesting herbs that she cross-propagated. I've never seen photographs of either she or Owen, but they are prominently featured in one of the volumes of the History of Eden. There's a history book written about Eden? Meg was surprised by the information, as she had never imagined anything of great historic impact happening within the tiny rural town. Oh, yes, Catherine assured her. It was compiled and written 50 years ago by the town historian Doris Walsh. She basically edited information that she had been collecting for years into 3 softcover volumes. The books highlight those who have first established Eden in the early 1800s and those who played prominent roles in its development through the 1960s. How interesting, Meg responded. So what did she write about Crown Hill and the Southwicks? Catherine proceeded with care. Actually, Doris wrote about the Southwicks' life at Crown Hill primarily because of something unusual that happened here. Oh, you've got me interested now, Catherine. Do tell. Well, according to all that I know, Mary Southwick died here. Or perhaps more accurately, I should say, she was found hanging from a rafter in the woodshed here. Actually, it's the woodshed that still exists in the back of the property. That small building right next to your barn. The summer sun awakened me gently, warming my roof, expanding my rafters, filling my rooms with light. It was a much-needed and soothing beginning after all that had transpired within me. The shattered glass of the book cabinet definitely caused Meg to become more aware of Mary and to question the signs of her presence. Her resultant lunch invitation to Catherine Winston brought with it the specter of life-changing revelations for Meg as well as for Mary and me. I observed Meg carefully as Catherine revealed the truths of Mary's death. Her expression initially was one of shock and some fear. But as the two women continued to discuss Mary's wretched passing, I could see an empathy developing within Meg. Her trepidation over someone living at Crown Hill more than 100 years earlier was dissolving into compassion for a woman who had suffered many of the same uncaring life circumstances as her own. As Catherine continued, she shared Mary's story, including the town-wide rumors and innuendo about her spirit remaining within me after her death. Meg's body once again radiated with fear. Yet I could see in her eyes an inner calm, compiled with a desire to know, to understand. Ultimately, after Catherine satisfied all of Meg's questions and departed, we were left together. Meg, Mary, and me. It was then that Mary reached out. Crown Hill, did you hear? Did you understand? It is exactly as I felt. Meg is of a nature and strength to help me. When the time comes, she will be there to aid me. I know it. I can feel it. Yes, dear Mary, I did hear, and I do understand. Meg's character and spirit are strong. Yet, we must also be aware of the strength of Owen, of his ability to drive Meg from our world. We are going to have to be thoughtful in the ways that we reach out to her. We will need to maintain a facade within me that will not alert Owen's evil spirit, which we both know is ever lurking. I understand your wisdom, Crown Hill. I dedicated much of my life to acting in ways that kept me protected from my husband. I am aware of all that is needed to ensure Meg's safety and my deliverance. Amidst her anticipation, Mary declared her intent. We have not been blessed with someone of this goodness and ability since young Rose came to us. We both know that such individuals are not easily found, and I will not let Meg slip away as Rose did. Agreed, dear friend. But how is it that you would proceed? I will continue to embrace Meg by encouraging the scent of my sweet roses throughout your being. I will also appear in her dreams so that my vision becomes part of her thoughts. It is my hope that such experiences will encourage Meg to further engage with conversation with Catherine and with others, leading her to a greater awareness of my plight. When that stage is set, I will then reach out to Meg in a way that I know will allow my soul to finally journey toward the light. And nothing, not even a being of Owen's power and evil, will stop me. While my heart was breaking over the specter of Mary's absence, there was no doubt in my mind. The time had come. So, did you enjoy lunch? Wasn't it lovely? I loved the linens made by her mother's great-great-grandmother and brought over from Ireland. That was very special, I thought. And, we're learning much more about Meg and her strength, her courage, despite the fact that she feels unsettled where she is starting over in her new life. So thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed this 7th chapter of Book 3 of Meg. There are 19 altogether, so we have a little journey left to go, but we will finish on April 30th. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. I think I said that already. And I hope you enjoy the concert tonight. One World at Home Together. It starts at 8 o'clock. Hopefully I got you out in time. You can make your popcorn and grab your drink and go sit down, and we'll all do that together. And it's kind of like when you look at the moon and think about people who are seeing the same moon as you are. We can't be together physically, but we can still share things like this concert tonight and like Crown Hill. And somehow it brings us together. Enjoy. Sleep well. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night at 7:30 for another part of our Crown Hill journey.